Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about how to conduct effective peer review. So these are your peer review questions. The very first thing you want to do after you've read your classmate's paper is to summarize their main idea in your own words. So the reason for this is because sometimes when someone is writing, they may think that they're conveying a certain message, but when you read it, you interpret their work differently from what they intended. So if you are summarizing their work in your own words, then they can kind of compare what you got out of their work from what they intended, and they can, fix whatever they need to fix or change things up as needed. Next, does the introduction establish a clear starting point for the essay? Does it provide enough background information? Does it end with a thesis? Offer any suggestions you have for improving the intro. And if the draft doesn't have an intro, then you would write no introduction. So for the draft, an introduction is not required. But if it does have one, then these are the things that you should look out for. An introduction shouldn't be too brief. It should give enough background information so that a reader can understand the topic, and then it should have a clear thesis that tells the direction of the paper. Next, are there paragraphs that seem less coherent or less convincing than others? If so, choose one and explain how it might be better clarified or supported. So you can, when you're looking at specific paragraphs, you can consider the paragraph structure, which includes the topic sentence, introduction to the evidence, evidence analysis, discussion, and transition, which I discussed in more detail in my lecture video on essay formatting. You especially want to look out for the topic sentence. Your topic sentence should be broad enough where it can kind of cover the multiple articles that are being discussed in that paragraph. So if your classmate's topic sentence is too limited, then that's one suggestion that you can give, is that it needs to be broadened. But as you're looking at the essay paragraph by paragraph, these are the things that should be in each body paragraph. Does the writer discuss multiple articles in their body paragraphs throughout? If not, you can offer suggestions for connections that can be made. So remember, throughout the paper, your classmates should be synthesizing their sources, where they're showing the connections between multiple articles and discussing multiple articles in each body paragraph. So if they're raising an idea and you can think about a connection to another one of the sources, then that's definitely something that you can suggest to them. How does the draft hold together? Which paragraphs didn't connect well with the preceding or subsequent ones? So you just want to look at the overall organization of the essay. If paragraph 3 would flow better if it's replaced or switched out with paragraph 1, then that's an example of just looking at overall organization and making suggestions for that. Is a conclusion merely repetitive, or does it synthesize ideas and suggest new directions of thought? So you don't want to just repeat everything that you just said in like a 3-page paper, because it can be a little insulting to your reader. They've just read it, so they're going to remember what you wrote. So you want to have a summary of what you wrote in maybe 2 or 3 sentences, but then in your conclusion, you want to suggest directions for new directions for thought. So your classmate's conclusion should be doing some of that. Then you're going to identify at least one strength of your classmate's essay, and then identify at least one area that they can improve on. Now, some tips to keep in mind when you are doing your peer review. First, before you write anything in your peer review, you want to read the essay in its entirety so you can get all of the ideas that your classmate intends to convey. You want to be kind and respectful. So writing is a very vulnerable thing, and putting your paper out there for someone else to review makes you feel even more vulnerable. So you want to keep that in mind when you're giving feedback, and be kind and respectful to your classmates. People have different educational backgrounds. People are coming from different walks of life, so they may not have the same experience that you had with your writing, and they may not have had as many opportunities as someone else may have had to develop and improve on their writing skills. So just keep all of those things in mind when you're giving feedback. Your feedback should be given in a way to really try to help your classmates and not to criticize someone else. So be kind and respectful in the way that you're giving feedback, and I think that will go a long way in making someone receptive to what you're saying. Next, you want to be specific and use as much concrete language as possible. So for example, instead of writing in your classmate's work that something is a vague sentence, what you can say is, I'm not sure how line 3 is connected to the topic sentence in paragraph 2. So now they know exactly what they need to work on. It's not just that the sentence is vague, but it's that you're not really seeing the connection between what they're saying and their topic sentence, so they need to clarify that connection. Another example of being specific, instead of saying good job, you can say your topic sentence was clear and specific and summed up the main point of paragraph 2. So now they know, oh wait, that topic sentence of paragraph 2 was really good. I can use that as a model for my other topic sentences. So that's an example of how being very specific in your feedback and using very concrete language can help your classmates to learn and improve on their work. Next, you want to be mindful of your language. So offer suggestions, not commands. For example, instead of saying change this, which is a command, you can say, I'm not sure that you interpreted this part correctly. I think the author was trying to say that, or you can say, maybe you could show how. So when you're offering suggestions in this way, again, your classmates will be more receptive to what you're saying and open to what you're saying, and that will help them to work in their writing a little bit more than if you just said change this, which is also, you know, a vague command. Next, you want to be critical, so you want to point out things that your partners may have overlooked, but also try not to overwhelm your partner with feedback. So you don't want to point out every single teeny tiny detail or teeny tiny error that your classmate may have made, because that can be very, very overwhelming for someone. They might end up feeling like, oh, nothing in their paper is right, and then that might affect their motivation to continue writing this paper. So try not to be overwhelming with your feedback, but you want to think about things that your partners may have overlooked or your classmates may have overlooked. So maybe they're missing a topic sentence. That's something that definitely needs to be included in a paper and something that you should point out. And leave your opinions of the topic out of your review. For example, if you don't agree with the author's perspective, don't mention it. If the author hasn't supported their claim with sufficient evidence, or if the author misinterpreted the text, then that's something that you can point out. So it's fine for us to have different perspectives on the topic or different things that we interpreted the text as. That's not something that needs to be mentioned in your peer review, because you're not reading your classmates' papers to see if you agree with them. However, you are reading their papers to give constructive criticism on their writing. So if they did not give sufficient evidence to support their claim, or if there was a part of the text that they misinterpreted and it's very obvious that they misunderstood that part of the text, then those are things that you can point out. And then finally, review your comments for clarity. So if you are giving feedback to someone, the reason for that, the entire purpose of you giving feedback, is so that they can read your feedback and improve their writing. However, if you're not clear in the feedback that you're giving, then they won't really know what it is that they need to fix, and that can become very frustrating for them. So when you're done giving your feedback and writing up your comments, just reread everything and keep in mind you're not in front of that person to explain what you meant. So you have to be as clear as possible in your feedback so that they know exactly what it is that they need to work on. And remember, the goal of peer review is for all of us to work on our writing and improve our writing so that we can get a good grade and apply these skills to future papers and future writing activities. So you definitely want to give as much feedback as you can in a constructive way with that goal of helping your classmate to improve. All right, hope everyone has a great peer review session.